Well, I thought I might talk to you just briefly today about time and the way things are so different in so many parts of the world. Now, I'm going to speak primarily to the area of the world that I know the best. That's Latin America. And, there's a Latin American time. They don't necessarily do everything as punctually as we do. Now, that especially refers to social events, not to work, not to airline flights, not to soccer games by any stretch of the imagination. It's really funny. Soccer game's going to start at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're there an hour and a half early. You got to get parked. You got to get in the stadium. And they will start on time. And if they don't start on time, if the other team happens to get there late, the team that's on the field at the starting moment would win by what they call in Spanish a walkover. Walk-over. And so you have to be on time. So sometimes you hear a missionary talking and say, well, in Latin America, we don't stay on the hour. Yeah, that's not quite true. It's somewhat true. It's true to the point that, yes, that's exactly how it is in social events. When they used to be going to have a wedding in Peru, and they'd say, we're getting married at 6. I would always say to them, well, tell me what time I need to be there, because I'm not going to get there early and sit around the church building just waiting on y'all. Tell me when you're going to get there. And it was always so funny back in those days. They'd say, well, we're going to start on time. And I'd say, oh, no, no, you're not. And so then I would say, I tell you what I'll do. You call me when the bride gets in the car to go to the church, and then I'll take a shower. And then I'll get there, because I knew that even if they called me when the bride got in the car, it wasn't going to start then. And so a wedding could start an hour and a half, 2 hours late. If someone invites you over to their home for a party at 6, that probably means 6:30, 7, 7:30, depending on the family, depending on what's going on. And you want to kind of know them. And so you're learning the culture and you're adapting to it. But you don't have to do that for church services, regardless of what somebody may have told you. You don't have to do that for church services, because you know what you can do they start on time. At the airplanes are going to take off pretty much on time. I'd say they're about as on time in Peru as they are in America nowadays. And so what's it mean that, the Peruvian hour, they call it the hora peruana. Well, that's a social hour. And so don't think less of them. Don't think to yourself that, well, they don't show they don't respect the clock. That's simply not true. They know what time they're supposed to get out of church. They know what time they're supposed to get off work. They know what time they're supposed to get to work. They know what time the game starts. They all understand all of that. So when I first started the church and working in the church in Hunter, they've been started by another missionary. I told them when I got there, I said, now we're going to start on time. Because if I announce a time, I'm starting on time. I'm not starting 30 minutes late. I'm not starting 1 minute late. I'm starting early. Fact is, it's kind of been my practice to start 2 minutes early. So like if I say 7, that really kind of means 6:58, and people learn that. That way, when we start 2 minutes early, people start running in and getting in their places. And so I told our people, now, if you don't show up on time, the devil will win by walkover. And you don't want that. And so you know what? They came on time. They came on time. One time I invited a missionary who's now in heaven. A lot of my friends are in heaven. Makes me miss the place and think about going. But one of my friends that's in heaven, he said, I invite him to preach. He said, what time I need to get there? I said, well, it starts at 11. And he said, no, but what time do I need to get there? I said, well, you better get there. Sunday school starts at 10. If you want a seat, you need to be there by 9:30. He said, oh, come on, tell me what time I need to be there. I said, if you come after 9:30, you probably aren't going to get a seat. Someone will have to give you their seat. He didn't believe me. But when he showed up, it was true. The people came on time. When you show the importance, they'll show the importance. Now, you may be starting a church and the people don't come in the building, but if you'll start, they'll come in. They don't want to be there beforehand. They don't want to shake your hand necessarily. That's when you're starting a brand new church in a brand new area. Don't wait on them to come. Let them see that it's serious enough that it's going to start, and they'll come. So I want you to learn to adapt, and I want you to understand the time. If you as an American try to adapt to the time, you're probably going to get in trouble. I preached at a church in Mexico, and on the sign it said that church started at 10 a.m. And I said, well, what time do I need to be here? And the missionary told me, he said, well, just get here at 12:30. And I said, well, it says 10 o'clock. He said, yeah, when I started, we said 10 and they came at 10:30. So I moved it to 10:30. They came at 11. I moved it to 11. They came at 11:30. He said, I'm not moving anymore. Well, the truth of the matter is that was poor leadership probably. And so you ought to think about that. Think about how you will spend time training your people to come on time. And it's as important as when an airplane takes off, when the train leaves, when the bus leaves the bus station. It's as important as a soccer game. And they will put value on what you put value on. You don't need to make excuses for it. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you being here. You're very kind to watch, and I hope it's somewhat of a blessing and a lesson to you and help you. And if it is, give us a like and share the video and invite other people to come. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope you'll subscribe to the YouTube channel.